Tonight, a special episode of Suburban Sex. Mistress Monroe joins us to review her smutty porno books.
That really is what it is.
That's exactly right. Mistress
I love it.
Monroe.
Mistress.
I like it.
Round of applause. Yes, we do have a new guest, Mistress Monroe. We'll call her Monroe for short. But yeah, thank you so much for joining
No, thanks for
us.
inviting me. I never, I talk to everybody about this, but never thought about talking about it recording. So,
To the
yes.
masses. Yeah. We've got, I think, like 12 or so countries at this point. So, yeah.
Your story's going worldwide.
That's right. Mrs. Worldwide. But tonight we're really going to dive into your favorite topic. So I'm glad that we had some time to carve out for this because we talk about sex on the podcast, but when the two of us got together, of course, sex is the first thing that I brought up. That's just what I do. But you brought up the smutty books that you've been reading, and I was ever so intrigued. And I just bought a whole stack of books next to my nightstand to do my homework because I just have not done enough reading lately.
You're going to become obsessed and buy more. And Brad is going to be overwhelmed with the amount of books and the amount of time you spend reading.
Is he going to be overwhelmed with anything else? I think that's what he's really going for.
From
here.
my experience, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
I can say my husband and I were just talking, and we've been married almost 13 years now. And he said the last year has been the best sex that we've had in our entire relationship.
Holy shit.
And I started my smutty book journey about a year ago. So it's had a very positive.
Oh my God.
So you're saying these things work?
Absolutely. I think.
Oh man.
Say it all started. I was telling you about this, Addie, that I think I was watching Married at First Sight, which is a weird that like I needed something to watch. I was folding laundry, and one of the experts they have on there was talking about for men, it's like they're ready for sex all the time. It doesn't matter whatever's going on. And women, with all of our hormones, it's hard to be in it. Like we've got to get into it to be in it. Mm-hmm. And she told the women that she talked to, she's like, I recommend you read 30 minutes of dirty book, smut, what have you, a night to help you with that. And so I think I dove into that hard. Mm-hmm. But it works because in the last year, I don't think I have ever turned down my husband for sex. Like when he wants it, I am there. But he's turned me down. So like the script has flipped sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome.
He's turned you down. Like he's tired now.
And he works from home too. And I stay at home now. And so sometimes in the middle of the day, I'm like, what you doing? What's your schedule look like? He's like, babe, like, come on.
You see, I think I went wrong because I had Reagan. I was like, hey, try this. And it was like Abby Jimenez. And she's, well, it's just too predictable. But some of these other books that you suggested that I've been reading for my assignment, definitely less predictable. So
yes. So
I can try
and that's
that.
And I started with Colleen Hoover is like your basic romance. There's some sex in there and it's nice, but the dirty, truly smutty, like you would never probably interact with a human that treated you that way in the real life is way better in my opinion.
I've heard that like Christina Lauren even used to have like some dirty stuff before she went mainstream. I don't think Colleen Hoover does though.
And I get the romance piece, but yeah, I'm willing to jump ahead to the good stuff.
I mean, there's some stuff you read that you're like, I don't I don't know why this should be exciting to me because it is wrong on so many levels. But it works.
That's what makes it fun.
Well, I don't know if you heard our fantasy episode. I mean, a lot of times you're trying things on through fantasy, and these books are the same thing. It may not necessarily be something that bleeds over into real life, or do some of the things you read kind of bleed over into your relationship, maybe in a small way.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there have been several things that I have read that I had discounted. I was like, never. And then after reading a few books, I'm like, hey, babe, what if we, tried anal play? What if we tried spanking? What if we tried? And turns out I like all those things.
Oh!
So
Oh my
not that
God.
I never
Oh my
would.
God.
Like, I was like, no, I would never. But I'm like, actually,
Right.
you read about it. And like maybe this is kind of turning me on. So maybe we need to do it.
Was it good?
All of it's been good.
Oh my God.
All right. So how long has this been going on? Like how many years, months has this been?
It's been probably about a year.
And how many books have you read in that year that are smutty?
I have a problem. This year alone, I don't know if you've been on my Goodreads lately.
Oh, I have.
But so far, don't judge, but I read 83 books this year.
Holy shit.
But I don't watch, don't watch
one
TV
a week.
anymore. This is what I do after the kids go to bed.
Wow.
Whoa. It's
It's a
dedication.
problem.
Oh my gosh, that is
You
a fun
are
problem.
a very fast reader.
Yeah.
That too.
That too. Yeah.
These are like 300-400 pages.
Yeah, there's
right?
some that I read that are like 250 that aren't as long that I could knock out pretty quick. But
Are you just skimming to the dirty parts?
no, I do read the whole thing.
Really?
Every word. Okay.
Well, like I was assigned to read Irresistibly Broken, and there is a plot to that. I mean, you're trying to figure out a mystery along with the fun stuff, but that one was different for me because there's 3 guys, so that was new for me. I mean, it kind of, you have to open your brain a little bit, but man, there were some quotes in there that I screenshotted a couple just so we could
Please share, Remy.
talk about them.
I think it's funny that might have been uncomfortable for you, Remy, but I'm
No, it wasn't uncomfortable for me. It was
new.
but-
New is not uncomfortable. New.
Yes.
That's true. New can be uncomfortable, but
All right, so one of them, he's like, we don't need to talk about anything that's happened before. You're different. If we share you, it won't be just fun. He laughed low and sexy.
no, don't do the laugh track, Brad.
But I mean, it's just the idea of they like her so much, but they're not the typical male jealousy thing happening, you know?
Yes, I think that's what I like about the genre so much specifically is a lot of what you see about society movies. It's going to be like, oh, the man has multiple female partners and the harem aspect. So reverse harem, where this woman is being like, she's so wanted by so many men that are willing to put aside jealousies just to make her happy and make her feel good. I'm like, it's amazing.
You're like, oh, stop.
But it's every woman's dream. I mean, like, here's another quote that happened later. It says, this girl fucking haunted my dreams. She was a drug. I had no desire to quit. I couldn't stay away from her. I didn't even want to try. And that's what every wife kind of wants from their partner.
I mean, the writing, some of these, the writing's kind of but a lot, the writing can be really good.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that there's a female fantasy to have multiple guys, because that's a very common male porn fantasy, is to have multiple girls. So
what?
That's interesting.
Is that common for you? What?
But in real life, It's too complicated because women are jealous beings. And same thing for guys, but in these books, or at least the ones I've read so far, they get past their jealousy for her, which is, a whole nother level.
In these situations, in these books, is the girl taking on multiple guys at once, or is she just jumping from one to the other?
Both.
Oh.
It's a build-up, man. It's not like it just
It's
happens.
a build-up.
There's tension that builds.
The whole thing is eventually it's all at the same time.
Okay.
See, I feel like I've asked Addie about this, and she was like, "Oh, 2 guys at once? I have to do so much? Gross."
I don't remember saying gross, first of all.
She was like,
Kind of
that's too much work. She was like, too much work to please all these.
No. I don't think I would have said that for them at the same time, but I do think if I had 2 of you, then I would be like constantly turning you down. I'd be like, "Oh my God, I just had sex."
No. I'm
Give me a
talking about
minute.
at the same time.
No, I know.
I floated this fantasy to you, and you shot it down like it was no way women would like this.
Sure.
It hadn't been planted in her brain yet.
I know. I had not read Reverse Harem thanks to Monroe.
You never had the thought of more than one guy at once.
Never. That had not crossed my mind.
No, I didn't either until I read the books.
Yeah.
Now I love my husband and I wouldn't invite somebody else into our relationship ever. But there are toys and ways that you can act some things out.
So since I started reading these books and searching for titles, my Instagram is now feeding over into people like Monroe who are enthusiasts about these books. And one lady came on with a quote that said that I have the mind of a dirty slut, but the heart of a married woman. And it's just like, it's all in her fantasy, but in real life, it's not that way. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that you're reading may not come to act out, but some of it will come out, and it helps because you're thinking about it. It's moving through your head, so your libido is like it's ready to go.
You ladies see the parallel here to porn.
Oh yeah. 100%. I saw the best reel or whatever I'm with y'all. I'm not on, I don't know whatever TikTok. I watch them on Instagram like way later when they're not cool anymore. So the reel, and it was an office video where Pam's basically trying to explain something, and whoever she's with is like, it's porn. And so I sent that to my husband because it's like me trying to explain my books, like, it's fantasy, they do this. He's like, it's porn. Yeah. I'm like, it absolutely
is. As long as you're aware of that.
But we get to picture it ourselves. It's not so direct. We kind of get to have some of that creativity element
like
to it.
Be in your head with it.
Yeah.
Whereas men like to actually see it illustrated.
Yeah. In plain view.
So Brad needs the comic book version.
Hentai version.
Hentai. Now I know what that is.
All right. So for a lot of our listeners may not have read anything like this before, other than, like a very innocent rom-com type book. How would you suggest they get started if someone wanted to kind of dip their toe in and not quite jump to the reverse harem, but what's a way to get started? Or how did you get started? I guess what is it immediately to that, or did it kind of build over time?
A good way. It built over time. I think so at first I revisited a series that I read when I was younger. And I can't remember what it's called. It's a Sleeping Beauty retelling. It's by Anne Rice. But at the time she was under a pseudonym because women, when she wrote it, couldn't write anything like that. So it was under a male pseudonym. And it's I'll send it to you guys. It's pretty in your face. So I wouldn't suggest starting with that, but I'll send it to you, but a good starting point for people that want to get into it. And this is kind of a big it's really popular right now is the Court of Thorn and Roses series. ACOTAR is what it's called. You see it all over Book Talk and everything. It's Sarah J. Maas.
It sounded so fantasy.
It is fantasy. So it has, and I'm a big fan of world building as well. So if I'm not reading smut, I enjoy that side of things.
Okay.
But it's a
Wait,
good thing to
what does that mean?
read to feel like I'm reading an actual book with a really good plot, but it has really good spice in it. So it's kind of, it's not in your face so much.
Okay, Brad doesn't know and I don't as well. World building, is that like, what kind of fantasy
So
are we
world
talking?
building is when an author basically creates an entire, like an entire new world, and you have different species, different types of people. There's different languages, different areas they live in. Like they're creating this whole fantasy, basically.
Okay.
Which I respect because it takes a lot to do all of that.
So does it venture into like the alien porn, or is it not quite?
No,
that
well,
far
this
off?
is it's fairy smut, is what they call it. So it's they're fairies, they're fae. They are kind of these mythical beings. Some have wings, some have, so there's differences there.
Okay, I want to know what makes fairy sex hot.
Well, I mean,
They got
they have
wings.
wings. They have powers. They're these beautiful, perfect beings.
They're tiny. Get up in there.
But I went from that, and you can ask some of my friends this. They made fun of me. I went through a werewolf phase.
Ooh.
Where
So in your brain, you've had sex with a werewolf.
maybe,
what you're
I
saying.
don't know. I mean,
Yeah, that's a yes.
That is a yes.
Which on our girls' trip last year, an entire night that we went out, they brought it up every chance that they could get, which is so fun.
Seems like
I love it.
Hairy, smelly.
But now I want to read that one. Whichever, I mean, there's probably multiple
there's so
on your
many.
list.
I told you, like I was embarrassed at first and didn't put anything on my Goodreads. So a lot of stuff last year that I read is not on there. But then this year I was like, forget it, whatever. It's all going on.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest creature you've had sex with in your brain?
Oh, I mean, it probably a werewolf shifter.
Okay.
Shifter. So they're shifter books where they're human, but they shift into other beings. I don't know.
Yeah.
My dreams have.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're strange now.
I love it.
I mean, they do have. I mean, pretty much think of any weird thing, and there's a genre of smut books that it's all about that.
So there's this huge spectrum, and some of them are much more tame, and some of them are much more innocent. Because I started with some of those, and then what I like in a series is when you kind of get to know the characters. I started with this Kaylee Loring. Hers, you kind of get to know one guy and get to know the brother, and then all the same characters keep circling back in the books. So the Irresistibly Broken, which you recommended, that's cool because I'm pretty sure you're going to see some of his brothers and some of the other characters in the future ones. Is that something that's a big draw for you as well, or?
Oh yeah. If I find an author I really like and they have a series that follows all the brothers or all the friends or something, I will absolutely read it because it all kind of circles, like you said, circles around and references each other. There have been a few that I have abandoned partway through because the writing just kind of drops off for me. But I love those series. When I find an author that I really like, I'll read all of them.
Right.
Do you read regular books too, or are you just all in on smut?
I do, but I haven't in a little while.
You've been busy.
Let's just say that those want to read on my Goodreads list have fallen down a little far.
I mean, it's hard to compete with
I
werewolf
It
know.
is.
sex.
I mean,
Constant sex and porn.
it's great stuff. It
I
is great
know.
stuff.
Wait, okay, so the ones with the brothers, that's not like a reverse harem, is it? Where the brothers are getting into the same
No,
girl?
those are just
Okay.
one on like one guy, one girl. But
Okay.
they,
Okay.
Which may be easier for some people to get started.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
reverse harem's it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Well, it was mine. I enjoyed it.
Do you have a favorite Monroe brother? Do you like Zaxton? Or do you like one of the other guys better?
I mean, that's a really hard one. I would say it's not one of the brothers, but one of the bandmates, because it's not just the brothers, but there's
Okay.
also their ex bandmates. I really like Asher, who is left the bands, went pro football athlete. There's whole genres. There's even I went through a phase, and I still read some of them where it's all hockey. Like there's so many hockey books.
Right on.
Well, that's so perfect for Dallas Stars
I know.
right now.
I'm following them on my Instagram right now.
That's right.
Well, see, a lot of times I'll just search for certain narrators that I like. This guy named Zachary Weber, his voice is like butter. So if he's narrating, I'll listen to it. You know, he's amazing. He even does like some guys' books like Baldacci and some mysteries.
Wait.
But
You
this guy's
listen
amazing.
to a guy when you're listening to a romance
Dude,
novel?
this guy's voice, man, is like butter. I mean,
Aren't they all narrated by a woman?
No,
not
man.
all.
Generally, you have a guy and a girl, and the different chapters are the difference. You're getting both perspectives, which makes it more fun.
You listen to the guy, huh?
Well, this guy's amazing.
Oh.
I mean,
judge
some
him.
voices.
I'm not judging. That's kind of surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
It would be hard for me to come to that.
His guy's
Come
name's
to that.
well, I don't come to Zachary Weber, but I do enjoy listening to him in the car because he's got an amazing voice.
It's been a while since I've done the audiobooks. But yes, there are definitely some narrators that are way better. And I do enjoy the ones like when some chapters are from the female perspective and some are from the male, when they actually
I like that.
switch it up
Mm-hmm.
and have the female.
Kings and Corruption was like that. I liked like the getting to know different psyches of each of the characters, and because there were different men involved, you got to get into their heads too. Yeah, that was fun. Oh yeah, I listened to one book, and then I started buying the paperback versions of books from there on out because I could not. If the narrator's not great, and also for some of these the writing is okay.
Yeah.
So if the writing is okay and the narrator's not great, I'm like, ooh, it's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I will say there are some that I can't start something and not finish it, but there are some that I've started and the writing has just been so bad that I go a little faster and kind of skim through. But not,
just get to the good stuff.
Only a few. There haven't been a lot, but there's a few.
Okay. So, okay.
And that's like with any book.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. When I was reading one of them, Brad will ruin pretty much any rom-com or romantic movie or whatever for me. I cannot watch them with him ever. And if he happens to be in the room with me, he will just like start making commentary, and I'm, stop talking, you're ruining it. Yes. So, but as I was reading one of these, I'm like, oh, honey, did you know he's filthy rich? And guess what? He's also extremely hot. And he wants her so bad. Like some of these are just so cliche, but I still got into it. I mean it didn't take much.
That's every book, right? They're all hot, they're all rich, and they're all obsessed with the female lead. Isn't that pretty much every book?
Not every book. I mean, like our other friend who suggested Penelope Douglas, I read one called Tris 6 Venom, and it was more about two girls and kind of one that was kind of had a power over the other one, and there was like a love-hate thing, Love hate something you
Love
get a
hate is
lot
Yeah.
big.
That is
in
Yeah.
this thing.
It's big.
Mhm.
There's one that I read, and she's an author that I found on Instagram. I'll have to pull up her name, who I really liked. And she's got a whole hockey series. It's my hockey series.
Oh,
And
nice.
in one, it was a man and a woman who got married. She had a relationship with one of her best friends from high school who's a woman. They separated for a while, but then they come back together and then all fall in love. And so it's two women and a guy.
Oh, all three of them fall in love.
I really like, and the way she wrote it was really, I really enjoyed it. So a little break from the three men and a woman.
You said it was how many dudes?
One guy,
one dude,
2 girls,
And how many
2
women?
2 girls.
All right.
Oh,
Now you got
Kristin
Brad's interest.
Grenata is her name, and I really like her writing.
Okay.
She's self-published. I really like her.
Oh, that's awesome. I may need to get into that one next. Some of them are getting a little cheesy and like Rock Hard. I think I knew when I picked out the title, Monroe. When I saw that one, I saw Rock Hard and I thought, that one may be a little too cheesy for me. And it's
Was
doing
it?
the job. It's a little cheesy. He's a rock star. She was putting herself through law school as a stripper. That sounds
As you do.
as you do.
What you do, but they had been together before that.
Right.
And he's a strong personality that does what he thinks is
them.
right, and she just wasn't having it. And
I love that you're standing up for them.
they end up together, and it's so wonderful. And they have really hot public sex.
I couldn't guess. Yeah. They have very hot sex. That's true.
And it does. Those books
Every
get
guy
cheesy,
knows exactly what to do. And it works every time. So
obviously.
Yeah, in these books it works every time. In real life.
So have you found reading these books? Has it done anything for you?
So yes and no. The first one I read, The Kings and Corruption, yes. I was really enjoying that one. And even though I was kind of making fun with him about like, oh, so rich and so hot and oh my God, she's like the only girl in a frat house. That sounds amazing, But I didn't think that I would ever gotten into the reverse harem. That was just not. I didn't even know that was a thing until we were chatting. And I'm into it. I enjoyed that a guy was like watching her and another guy, and neither of them were jealous, and there was just kind of like this element between all three of them. So I've already bought the second book, so I'll be reading that full series.
You'll get to the point where it's all together.
Yeah. Okay. With
Well, don't ruin it. Oh my gosh.
Not ruining it. I'm just plugging a little like.
Yeah. That'll kind of get me through to the next one. Yeah. So that one did me some good. Like I would finish that, and Brad was upstairs watching his sports because that's basically all he does on a weeknight. And I was able to enjoy myself those evenings a couple times. So that was nice. Rock Hard is not quite doing it for me, so maybe it's the cheese factor or something else. But I think I may need something else. But I'm like
than
you.
one guy.
That's all it takes, honey.
Maybe try Mafia. I've read a lot of the Mafia books recently too. Like there's so many genres and so many tropes. What they say, like
yeah,
there's so many,
and it's so popular. Like I'm not on TikTok, but it is very prevalent on Instagram and all of that too. People are just whipping out all these books and doing little book reviews on all the smut. And I brought it up on a girls. It was a Mother's Day brunch that we were all having. We all had some alcohol in us, and I did not let them know that I had a sex podcast. But as I do, I bring up sex just to kind of like sprinkle it in and see who's gonna nibble. and they all thought it would be so fun to have like a smut
Oh my
book
gosh, I would
club.
love that.
I'm like, I will start that up, no problem. But so it's out there, like it's out there for the taking. It's something that we all could benefit from. It just we got to find the right stuff for it.
All right, you said the word tropes a few minutes ago. What is that?
Tropes are like
educate us.
reverse harem. What they say, like have like sunshine and grump, where you have the guy who's really grumpy and the girl who's really happy and comes into his life.
Sunshine and grump.
Oh my gosh,
oh my
there's so many. I might have had a little
It's
much
gotta
whiskey,
be like
so I can't like give you all of them. But if you just look up
Remy's
tropes,
the
and you'll
researcher.
find
it happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
One time I did a gummy while we were on, and it went sideways.
I
fast.
loved your weed versus wine podcast.
Oh, good.
I loved that one. I had so many questions.
Hey, now's the time.
Be our listener letter.
Like,
we're not getting enough letters.
No, well, if you need physical letters, I need to work on my penmanship. So I will send you letters.
Maybe not snail mail.
We only accept USPS.
Well, I did suggest that some of our listeners write some literotica or erotic stories and send to us, which I didn't get any.
Okay.
So.
I haven't written any of my own, but that might be my next
hobby.
Yes.
Oh, yes. How fun would that
be? There's so many words for penis.
That was great. Yes, honey.
So, Monroe, is your name inspired by Zaxton and Crew?
It's not Zaxton and Crew. It's from one of the hockey books that I've read.
Oh.
I have to go back because I had to go look at it. I didn't take notes and write things down, and I should have, but I did not.
Yeah.
But I'll send you after this. But remember, I'll send it to you. But that series, it's all the male characters are morally have wrong things, like very morally wrong. And but yeah, so he ends up texting this wrong number, but he is basically stalking her. And you find it out later in the book when someone sends her these videos of what he's been doing, as he told his boss or her boss that he needs to fire her because he doesn't want her working anymore. And he was trying to hit on her, and he's just very controlling, which again, in real life, you would never, like if someone is doing this, you'd be like, this is wrong and terrible. But in the book, it's fine. And she finds it out, and he ends up like chaining her to his bed. So she can't leave, but she's okay with it. And he goes off and plays hockey. And but this whole series is about these different men that they meet on the team, they're like best friends on the team that they play on, and how they do these morally wrong things to get the women in their lives, but it like ends up okay. Which there's so many, like I read some of these books and I'm like, I should think this is terrible. Right. In my head, these should be terrible, horrible. I would tell someone to run the wrong way, but for some reason I'm like, where's my vibrator? Like, this is wrong. It's so wrong.
Because I wonder if there's something that's like deep down in us that we would have never thought about it, and because it's kind of available, because they kind of make it okay.
Yeah. But it also, in a way, like maybe not to the bad extreme, but in a way, you're like, okay, some of that excited me, but how can I translate this to my current sex life with my partner, significant other, husband, but without it sounding really bad?
Well, one way is to put little chains that you store under your bed.
Yes, we haven't done that. I want to. Like,
we can send you the link.
Okay, send me the link. Like, I'd be down. We like younger days we did that.
Boys, we were talking about how we can incorporate some of what is read into the actual bedroom.
Oh.
Brad just perked up like,
Look
oh
at that
yeah,
face.
yes, tell me more.
And he's back. Honey, I was telling her about our little chains that we put under the bed. We have not used those recently, but maybe I just need to do some more reading.
The restraints.
The restraints.
We don't have
Chains.
actual chains.
I mean, not chains. Sorry.
Whip chains,
The
handcuffs,
restraints.
whatever you want
Not
to
that
call
there's
them.
anything wrong with that in the
I
right
know.
context.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know.
But go on.
The restraints under our bed. I said that is an option. But I don't know what other besides adding people to the mix, Monroe.
I mean, like I said, there's toys, so it doesn't have to be other
Right.
Well,
people.
there's anal. She already brought that up.
So there's
Duh.
vibrating butt plugs
That's like
that
top
can
of the
be used
list.
concurrently, like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very nice for both parties.
Yeah. Yeah. So what toys? What toys have you like incorporated maybe because of some of this?
Mostly the vibrating butt plug. Yes.
Okay.
That's working very well.
Oh,
Very,
nice.
very well.
Wait,
Okay.
for you
For
or for
me.
him?
And both, because
Uh-huh.
the vibration, it's in there
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. And so
Right.
Honey, why haven't we tried a vibrating butt plug?
We have one. I just don't.
We don't have a vibrating
offer it
one.
you need one.
Oh, that's
So they have
true.
different ones that like
Okay.
you just turn on and ones that you control with your phone. There's many.
Brad's doing his research right now.
He doesn't need to do research. She's going to send us a link immediately.
Nice.
Many.
I like it.
I'm a big fan of the Velvet Box, and I have many things that I have saved
Yes.
that I've been like, hey babe, what are
I
the,
love
like
it.
one thing that we have not tried that I really want to try are the ones that like you just wear and are controlled by phone. So you go out in public. Like we haven't done that, and I really want to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Question.
Bated
So
breath.
it sounds like the backdoor stuff wasn't really a thing until you
Mhm.
read about it. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is. Like even in my girls' trip last year, it was last October, I can't remember when. Even in that trip last year, I was like, no, we don't do that. I would never do that. And then I kept
Are we talking just toys?
Anything.
Or is he are we doing butt sex or what are we
I
talking
mean, we are
about here?
now.
How frequently we talk? Is this
It's
like a
not.
once a year?
No, it's
or-
not.
So, what are the books that inspired the booty sex? Is what he's trying to
Yeah,
ask.
He
here.
wants
No,
to know the
that's not what I'm
page
asking.
number.
Page number.
It was Zach's story.
All the guys
Zach's
want to know.
and I can't remember her name, but that's what inspired me when she would say like when he found her toy, her vibrating butt plug,
Oh yeah,
and
true.
asked her about it, and she was like, "I've only used it experimenting on my own." And then he's part of a sex club, and they go to the sex club, and he's got one there for her, and they used it, and I was like, "Mm-hmm."
Mm-hmm.
And I read it, and I was like, that could be fun.
Eddie,
There's
do you have this book?
lots of very
don't.
different scenes in that
Yeah.
book where at first, she kind of takes control and dominates him a little bit, and then when they go to the club, all of a sudden they keep reversing the roles.
It's a
which
very
is kinda
even
cool.
dynamic between the two, which I like.
And remind me, what's the book called again? Because it's going to end up on my Amazon doorstep
But
tomorrow.
Irresistibly broken.
Irresistibly Broken. You got it. There you go,
Yeah.
Brad.
That's the butt sex book.
It's the one that got me thinking, like, maybe I should try, because once, long time ago, years before I met my husband. So I was like little 20-year-old me. I tried it and I was like, oh, I don't like this. But it wasn't
We probably
Right.
did it wrong because he was 20.
exactly. It probably did it wrong. So then reading about it, I was like, I might actually enjoy this. Like, and it's not, I don't know. I find these books as a little bit of a guide, if you will.
Okay.
where it's like you do it, but it talks about, oh, hey, stimulating the clit because they are connected and it helps relax things while it's happening. And I'm like, it was wrong before, and now we're going to try it this way. And I would keep doing it. Honestly.
Oh
Guys can learn a
God.
lot from reading these
Yes.
books. I mean, they're all written by women, and the descriptions of what these guys are doing are there for a reason. And so all the guys who are ashamed to read the books or would never read them, you're kind of missing out because there's a lot of they think about it in different ways than the typical
clit
guy.
is important,
and it's
okay?
very different than what you're going to see in a porn.
The clit is important.
Amen, sister.
I think that is a very forgotten part for women.
Oh, I remember it every time. If he forgets, I remember.
So, Brad, let's turn this on you. I know you're a sexual enthusiast a little bit. So you're probably more likely than most husbands to give a book like this a chance. Would you read a book like this, or is it still just like, man, this is not sports? What if it has hockey in it? Would that make you read the book? Or is it just off the table altogether?
It has the essence of sports,
There are
honey.
sports
That's right.
in there, yeah.
Funny you mention it, because I actually remember reading my mom's romance novel when I was early teens.
No way.
And
Where it all started.
And yeah, it
Like
was,
Danielle Steele with Fabio on the cover? Or
Those
what are we
are
talking
pretty
about?
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, they're having straight up sex. And they're
God.
describing deep, moist penetration and thrusting. And wow.
Oh, crap.
So yes, I have some experience with romance novels.
Okay.
But would you read them now?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
What if they gave you some tips?
come on.
I bet Tyler.
Hey, my husband hasn't read any of my books.
See what we're dealing with here.
I know. I was just about to ask, Monroe, if your husband's touched them. I'm sure he's like, they're doing their job. They're getting you where you need to be. I'm already there for the most part.
To read them. He's
Right.
reaping the benefits afterwards.
I'm the only male alive who's read them, so.
She doesn't
No.
want me to get hornier. She
No,
wants me to
that's
get
correct.
less horny.
I
So
don't know about you guys. My husband has a very high level of testosterone.
Yes.
So it has been such a compliment when he's come and said that this last year has been the best sex that we've had in our entire relationship.
I love
So,
that.
I'm gonna keep reading.
That's so good. Well,
You
hell
know?
yeah. Absolutely.
Get a girl.
I know.
I'm happy with it too. I didn't think I'd be that happy with it, but I'm very
know.
happy.
That's the point. If you are getting what you want out of it, it is not about making your husband happy. This is entirely about what you get out of it, your pleasure, your enjoyment, and the fact that you're like carting these books with you to dance camps and whatever.
Do you
Shoot,
put
man.
book covers on them, or are you just kind of out with them open?
Well, I've got my Kindle.
Oh,
and so everything I read is on my Kindle Unlimited subscription. There's a few that I have bought that I have on there, but I do kind of take my e-reader when I'm in certain places and like angle it away. So maybe if someone wants to read over my shoulder, they're not reading words.
Reading the thrusting.
Reading the word cock over and over again.
With the cock in my pussy. Like, they're not reading that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think I would be embarrassed if they did and said something about it.
Yeah. Right. They may be asking you about it.
Like, I have told, especially when I've had a few drinks, when I'm at some mom events, I'm like, let me tell you about these books I read.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I need to go to a party with her. She's my type of people.
I mean, that's why I'm on this podcast.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right. Here we are getting, having fun at a party. We're just chilling, hanging out, and all of a sudden, one of us starts talking about smut books, the other one starts talking about sex, and it's just a match made in heaven. Here we are. Yeah.
Well, Monroe, I'd love for you to give some suggestions just for some of the moms out there, maybe some favorite authors, favorite stories. We'll put in our show notes just kind of a way, like some easier ones to get started with, and then maybe some of the others that are a little more advanced, just so people can have some choices. Because, a lot of moms or husbands have no idea where to get started.
Sure. I can send some to you guys for sure. I mean, I sent you the ones for you to start with, but I've got some like reverse harem, some more cutesy ones that are not as dark. I've got really dark ones. There's a series I read recently where it's reverse harem, but the two male characters are actually serial killers.
Oh my.
Jeez.
What?
It was, yeah. I didn't know it was going there, and it went there, and they ended up being serial killers. And the woman was like, "Oh, I don't know about this," but then she ended up killing a guy, and like it just
holy shit.
It's
this escalated quickly.
I need that one.
I need that one.
Killing's fun.
And I don't know, they met in college, but they were doing an online, like an X-rated online show. I will send it to you, but it's,
oh my God,
that's more like it's up there.
Right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do level 1, level 2, level 3.
There's like your minimal spice, you're happy, grumpy, like yay. You're
happy, grumpy.
kind of morally
sounds way too cutesy
wrong
for me.
characters, and fine. Then you're like totally
Our podcast
decrepit.
does not advocate killing of your partners.
I don't think we have to say that. I feel like people know that about us.
We're like, I'm not gonna kill anybody. Like I'm not on that
right.
But
that is a plot in a book.
Yeah. So
and oh my God, murder is so Remy. I don't know if you know this, but murder is very popular right now. There's murder podcasts.
So hot right now.
Oh, Zoolander references. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't show age, I don't know what does.
I know, right? I love me some Zoolander.
All right, so level 1. What's a level 1 recommendation?
You want to do that now?
Sunshine Grumpy, right? No. We don't have to make her. But we're gonna put it in the show notes.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can send it to you guys.
I
didn't do homework. I'm not prepared.
No, that's okay.
Remember, I've read 83 books this year so far. So off the top of my head,
you're gonna have to come back next week and
provide your notes, or give us a letter through snail mail. Give us.
I do write in cursive, so it can be very nice.
I bet it's beautiful.
Put our P.O. box in the show notes.
Some of your overseas readers might like it. I don't know.
COD.
Love it. I love it. All right, Monroe, before we let you go, we always have a vault question. Brad.
The vault. Oh, that was good.
Now this vault question is very similar to some of the smut you've been reading. So would you rather have a threesome with someone of your gender or someone of your partner's gender?
Can I say both?
Oh, yes. Okay, is this from all the smut reading? Like both scenarios sound that good to you?
Yeah. And we've talked, my husband and I have talked briefly about bringing somebody else in, but it was a female, not a male. He said he would be open to seeing that happen with me and somebody else. Like,
duh.
That's like Brad says. That is the male fantasy. But yeah, I would say both. The more the merrier. If all parties are good with it, then yeah.
I know, right?
Our friends in the lifestyle are missing out on a marketing strategy here. Just give everybody some smut books and they'd be totally open.
Smut books, and they'll unlock things in their brain that they thought were wrong, and they'd be like, Yeah, I think maybe.
Mhm.
Normalizing the threesome.
I hate the word normalize. He uses
I
that
know.
all the time.
Uh-oh, we got a new
That's going
naughty
to be the
word.
name of this episode. Normalize
The
the
name of his
romance
band.
novel.
We're
Oh,
not
man.
therapists. Hey, I have one more
Okay.
question. You mentioned, just real quick, and this could be a whole nother episode too, but I just want to get your take. You mentioned that, I mean, you've gotten more into smut books, and it's just been in the last year or so, and you've had certain conversations with your husband about maybe threesome or whatever, even if it's not something you will ever do, but just talking about sex. Did you guys have a relationship before where you talked about sex, like with young kids and stuff, or is that a little bit newer now?
I would say it's probably newer in the sense that I'm more
Okay.
confident in talking about things that I want to do or that I like. Whereas
Okay.
before, like I said, as women of our generation raised to be like, just accept what you get. Don't make the man feel bad. Do all that
Right.
and just kind of go with it. Where I feel more empowered now to be like, I like this a lot. This is
Yeah.
okay, but this I like a lot, and like let's do more of this. So that's what I've gotten. I feel more empowered to talk in the last year about the things that I like and that I want. And I've noticed he gets more turned on by making me feel good than just
Right.
making himself feel good. So
Absolutely.
That's become a theme on our show as well. That just makes such a difference in the bedroom. If you're doing it just to please him, it's a chore. It becomes a chore. They know it's a chore. You check a box, but
so we're not checking
that's
boxes
not what it's
anymore.
for. Nope. That's good. Oh, I love it. Monroe, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah, thanks for
tonight.
having me.
You were amazing. And we will get all of your recommendations, levels 1 through 10.
I've got to go through all the books
in
I've read and
complexity,
kind of
in
just
severity.
go through and put it in the
Well, then we'll make sure all of our listeners get the lovely list of our smut recommendations from Monroe. And until then, we are wishing you all the best of your very own suburban sex.